One thing, two things, blue thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening.
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery. One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Welcome to Doctors Hospital. As the Bahamas reopens, we at Doctors Hospital have been hard at work preparing for the new normal. The health and safety of our patients, associates, and others entering the hospital space is ever paramount and shapes the experience as you enter our facilities. All persons entering the hospital will be COVID screened, which includes a temperature check and a few short questions. There's also mandatory hand and shoe washing stations upon entry. Masks are required and can be provided if necessary. To further limit contact, Doctors Hospital has launched a concierge service that allows for pre-registration, a hospital itinerary, in-car waiting, and a navigator to guide you through your visit. Our pharmacy is now offering curbside pickup and delivery services for prescriptions as well. Social distancing markers are placed around the facility, and scheduling for imaging, including CAT scans, mammograms, and 3T MRIs. Laboratory, including our new same-day COVID-19 PCR testing, rehabilitation, and other services, has also been adjusted. Doctors Hospital is here to serve you with the same quality and care that you've come to expect, even as we enter a new normal. Now, more than ever, Doctors Hospital continues to be trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Weather at Sunrise. Brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
It's another. It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank God it's Friday once again. I am Philip Simon.
Good morning, everybody, and I am Mark Daniels, filling in for Star. Good morning, Star.
Well, I tell you, Mark, it's been quite another one of those weeks, man. You know, I just cannot script this year that we have had. It's like a pendulum. It keeps going back and forth. You know, it goes up and down. But again, here we are. It's a new day, like they say. It's a new day. It's a new opportunity. But it's so hard to carpe diem.
Yeah, I think there was a song back in the 90s, Emotional Roller Coaster. I can't remember who sang it, but that is definitely what we are on right now, the ups and downs of living in uncertain times.
Yeah.
However, be encouraged. We still here, Bahamas. We still here.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So you know what? We have to stop and say, you know, give thanks to God. Because again, we're here, you know, we're live. We're fairly well, you know, we still have to be our brother's keepers for all of those persons who may not be doing as well as others. And you know what? You know, you get into these debates back and forth all the time on social media. And especially these days, I see it's just rearing its head again in terms of political form. And certainly we want to wish the leader of the opposition a speedy recovery, him and his wife and the entire family. In fact, everybody who's been suffering from this disease. But we have to do this together, right? I mean, you know, we would have seen what happened on Monday past. You know, we had the lockdown and then it was removed. You had people protesting. And I kept on thinking in my mind, man, the only way we're going to solve this, it's not through the competent authority. It's not through, you know, anybody else. It's through us. It has to be a community effort. I'm glad that we're speaking of, but at the end of the day, after all is said and done, we still have to be community in order to solve this problem. We have to be our brother's keeper.
Yeah, you have to be a brother's keeper. You have to think of the collective. And I'd like to think that throughout this experience, if it's one thing that Bahamians can come away with, is that after COVID, maybe they have somebody else they can call on for help, or they've added someone else to their list of people that they assist, that they feel that although times are uncertain, that they have more of a community to rely on. And that's the only way we're going to survive.
The only way we're going to survive, man. It's rough. Hindsight is going to be 2020. Certainly, there's so much room for improvement from the top straight on down and across. But we're still in this together. It makes planning for the future very difficult. I saw this meme that said, if anybody told you where they in 2015 where they would be in 2020, it was not here.
They'll be completely wrong. And even as we are in the midst of this pandemic, which is an act of nature, some would say, if you look at the world history and how things have happened on this planet. However, Mother Nature comes to trump all. So guess what? We got a storm coming this weekend. So nobody worrying about COVID now. We looking up at the sky to Mother Nature.
Boy, Mark, thanks for that reminder. I did see all of those lines coming through the Bahamas, just like the last time. But anyway, listen, today we're going to be talking with the Ministry of Education about health and safety protocols. This is the second installment in a 10-part series called Focus on Education. Of course, we know that classes will be resuming one way or another here really soon. Also, we're going to be debuting our new youth roundtable segment, Mark. It's called Fresh Brew. Fresh Brew. We want to find out what the young people are thinking about all of these pressing national issues.
Yes, that sounds like an exciting segment. We also have the Bahamas Football Association joining us to talk about their new director and upcoming initiatives. And we're talking about European football, soccer. We're not talking about passing the pigskin, right?
And you know about that. I hear you used to be a little athlete back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, like my brother Eric Carey would say, an athlete. I was an athlete now. We're also going to have the juvenile unit of the Department of Rehabilitative and Welfare Services in our Bridging the Gap segment to talk about issues with our youth today. I also want to thank you all for taking our COVID-19 vaccine survey. We have been talking about it over the past week, and we're going to announce those results on Monday, and keep an eye out for that. But now, let's talk to the most important man in the Bahamas, Brother Godfrey. Tell us what's happening with Mother Nature, please.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. A tropical storm watch is now in effect for the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Those islands include Inagua, Maguana, Crooked Island, Acklins, Ragged Island, Long Key, and Samana Key. Tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions can be experienced within the mentioned islands within the next 48 hours. We also have a tropical storm alert now in effect for the central Bahamas, including the islands of Long Island, Cat Island, Exuma, Rum Key, San Salvador, South Eleuthera, and South Andros, meaning that tropical storm formation can be formed in the central Bahamas within the next 60 hours. At 5 a.m. this morning, tropical depression number 13 was located in a latitude 17.8 degrees north, longitude 58.5 degrees west, some 305 miles to the east of the northern Leeward Islands, 860 miles east-southeast of Turks and Caicos, 990 miles east-southeast of Inagua, and 1,295 miles southeast of New Providence. The depression is moving towards the west-northwest at 21 miles per hour. Winds are still 35 miles per hour. Some gradual strength is expected over the next 24 to 48 hours. Rainfall around the system could be 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. Non-local scene, upper-level trough, along with some tropical moisture, will enhance some activity across the northwest Bahamas, in particular Grand Bahama and Abaco, during the daytime. For the day, partly sunny, still hot and humid, with a few showers, isolated thunderstorms. High temperature reached 92, feel like 105. Tonight, another warm and muggy night with a few showers, maybe a nightly thunderstorm propping up below 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 85 and 80. In Jamaica, 87 and 75. In Trinidad, 85 and 77. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 91 and 80. Across North America, Atlanta, 82 and 72. In Raleigh, 84 and 71. In Miami, 92 and 81. Dallas, Texas, 102 and 81. And Toronto, Canada, 77 and 70. As we go to the weekend, we do expect some weather conditions to start moving into the southeast Bahamas by late Saturday night into Sunday across the central Bahamas, late Sunday into Monday across into the northwest Bahamas. And this could be possible tropical storm conditions in the islands. We are watching the track. Actually, the track is now pushing it further south of the islands, so we could be impacted by some showers and thunderstorms starting southeast Bahamas Saturday night, Sunday in the central Bahamas, late Sunday night into Monday morning across the northwest Bahamas. Temperature daytime will be in the upper 80s, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That's what you're up in your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Gus to go inside. Bahamas at sunrise be back after a short commercial break.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solution. Terms and conditions apply.
One.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Well, we said it last week and we'll say it once again. Safety first, education always is the new mantra of the Ministry of Education. Today, we are discussing health and safety with our guest, Desiree Higgs, Administrator of the Safety and Disaster Risk Reduction Unit in the Ministry of Education. I had to take my time with that, Ms. Higgs. And of course, Philip Johnson, he is the Safety Officer at the Ministry of Education. Good morning to you both. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
Good morning. And welcome, Bahamas. Welcome.
Tell you what, that's a long title, Ms. Higgs. Tell us a little bit about the Safety and Disaster Risk Reduction Unit.
Well, basically, the unit was established in 2016. The director at that time thought it was necessary to form such a unit because, as we can see in our current situation, there are a lot of health and safety issues that is continuously arising in our country and globally.
Well, that is interesting. Certainly getting all of that put to the test right now related to COVID-19. For now, classes will start remotely. I believe it's on September 21st, correct?
That is correct. September 21st, we will start remotely, and it is our plan October 5th to go to the blended learning model.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how the facilities have been upgraded. What are the safety protocols that must be followed? I mean, obviously parents across the nation are trying to prep and try to understand exactly what they can expect come September 21st and on.
Yeah, so with the facilities upgrade, what we have done is that we have put signage throughout our campuses from Grand Bahama Street to Inagua. We have also put in plexiglass partitions in those high traffic areas for our administrators and wherever persons would go on those campuses. We've also had markings so that students will know how to patrol themselves when they're going from the entry point to their classes.
Mr. Higgs, obviously as safety officer, your hands are going to be full for a minute as well. But maybe you can expand a little bit on some of the safety protocols that Ms. Higgs was talking about. And also, too, I imagine there has been some significant collaboration with the Ministry of Health approving these campuses and working on the operations before students return to school, correct?
Yes. As regard to safety, everything we do is done in conjunction with the Ministry of Health. We follow their dictates as regard to how we deal with the COVID. But this is more than just COVID-19. We're talking about health and safety throughout the entire breadth of the Bahamas with our students and our teachers. So we have been going through the process of training a number of persons, starting with our janitorial staff, as to how they should do extra cleaning in preparation for students' arrival or teacher arrival. We have given them seminars conducted over a period of weeks, basically through the Zoom link. And what we have decided to do is to make sure that there is an all-inclusive protective system in place. So safety is our mantra, and that's our desire to make sure every person who enters the campus or any campus is safe in whatever they do.
I would imagine too that maybe even in terms of the entry protocol, in terms of persons who on a normal basis might be allowed to come to campus, probably even reviewing that as well. But talk a little bit about what type of PPE, everybody talks about this, will teachers and staff be using? And also too, will the ministry also be recommending particular types of, I don't know if there could be masks or face shields? Obviously the spacing, as Ms. Higgs spoke about, has been implemented, but is there PPE for teachers and staff as well?
PPE exists for everyone. Again, we're following the dictates of Ministry of Health. Now, the basic material, that is the face mask, the social distancing, we don't too much worry about the gloves because the surfaces are cleaned continuously. That's the planning process, the training. But the gloves and the face shield for those kids who need the shield for visibility to see teachers' lips as they indicate, for those who are maybe deaf or require phonics in regard to teachings. So we have the basic things in place like every other institution. As for the availability, well, they're available. The ministry has not decided who's going to provide all of this in a free basis process, but the availability is there. This is a public school system, so we're trying our best in most cases to make sure that every child has the basic requirement, that is that face mask and the sanitization process is in place.
Ms. Higgs, when we talk about this term risk reduction, and when you put children into that equation, sometimes that could be really an uphill climb because children will be children, correct? How will there be mitigation against, again, you say safety and disaster aspects, but how, if something happens, if somebody contracts COVID, what would be the process that's implemented at that particular school or class?
Well, we do have a plan in place. If somebody presents themselves as symptomatic, of course, we will isolate that person. Our schools do have school-based nurses for many of our schools, so we will definitely have the healthcare professional to deal with the child. But where there is no medical personnel on campus, we would work with our community clinics to ensure that those persons are available to assist us in dealing with the situation. So that is our plan. We do have plans in place. Each school is definitely unique, particularly in our family islands. They would not necessarily have a nurse on campus, but we would encourage them to partner with community clinics.
If a parent has concerns, or even if a student has concerns relative to, safety and the protocols. How do they go about voicing those concerns? But is there also the option for students after September 21st, to still engage in learning in a virtual environment, or it's either virtual or it's actually in person?
Well, the situation is very fluid, so we would have to make those decisions as we watch how the cases rise or how they decrease. So that is why we have three models that were developed in the case that we have to make the necessary shifts. For parents and the public at large that has questions concerning any questions related to health and safety, we would ask them to call our COVID hotline. They can check the ministry's website, or they can also go on to school reopening at moe.edu.bs.
All right, just repeat that one more time for the people who are trying to write that down.
The email address is schoolreopening at moe.edu.bs.
All right, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to give you the final question here. Obviously this has to be a partnership between obviously the administrators, the risk reduction unit, the safety department within the Ministry of Education, but also too with parents. What do you say to parents right now in preparation for school reopening in about a month from now?
I would say to parents, you are responsible for the safety in first instance of your children. So if you feel uncomfortable with your children going to school for face-to-face, that's why we gave you the options. You have the option of having your child learn in a self-contained home situation, which is school homeschooling, or you can send your child to school if you so desire. But whatever you do, you make sure, first of all, that your child is safe before the child leaves home. That is your ultimate responsibility.
Well, absolutely. Safety first, education always. Desiree Higgs, thank you so much. Philip Johnson, thank you so much for joining us here in Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
All right. You are watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We've been with the Ministry of Education. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, all things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Effective rehabilitation programs for juvenile delinquents are a key to a youth's successful reintegration back into their homes and society. Here to tell us about the services available for juveniles in the Department of Rehabilitative and Welfare Services is Willan Mills, Welfare Officer in the Juvenile Unit. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Willan.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Daniels. How are you, sir? And good morning, Bahamas.
I am great. You're bringing such lovely energy to the show this morning. I love that.
Thank you.
Great. So tell us about the Department of Rehabilitative and Welfare Services and what type of services they provide.
Well, basically, I'm representing the juvenile unit of the department, but there are other sections of the Department of Rehabilitative Welfare Health, otherwise called probation. A lot of persons know it as probation. So along with the juvenile unit, we have the adult unit, and we have the welfare unit at the prisons, and we also have the juvenile detention centers, which are the Simpson Pen Center for Boys, William A. Pratt Center for Girls, as well as our national parenting program. So all of that falls under the Department of Rehabilitative Welfare Services. So in the juvenile unit, basically we help with juvenile offenders, anyone between who has committed an offense. We prepare a social history report. We, if that young person is placed on probation, we monitor him. But we also help with the difficult children in our community, the ones that are called the uncontrollable child, or the ones that are deemed beyond parental control. So we help in guiding them and monitoring them to ensure that they get back on the right path.
That sounds like you guys are in the trenches, working in the communities, trying to rebuild our society from the ground up. And I applaud you guys and everybody in that unit for that.
Yes.
You know, rehabilitation speaks to this idea of restoration, restoring, and to make fit. And a delinquent, I'm doing my etymology here, is, you know, one who fails to perform a duty or discharge an obligation. And so for parents, when should the parents seek the department's assistance?
Well, basically, a parent can refer a child for assistance even as young as 10. Between the ages of 10 and 18, they can come, and if their child are presenting problems, say for example, their child is consistently disrespectful, they're defiant, they leave home without permission, or they're sleeping out of the house without permission, or they suspect their child is using alcohol or drugs. All of those are red flags. Definitely come into the department. And usually we tell our parents, don't wait until it's beyond your control. Once you see that you're having difficulty managing them, immediately come in. The sooner the better.
And so when these flags go up, you know, because we live in the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and so, you know, our first response is usually a reactive one, whether it's going to be out of anger or you try to discipline. But how best can parents respond when their children are presenting behavioral challenges?
Well, the first thing, Mr. Daniels, I have to say this. The first thing is to be calm. It's for Bahamians, it's like a reflex action. When they answer us disrespectful, it's like that hand comes out and say, you know what, I'm going to slap your face twist. Exactly. Yep. But no, we want our parents to be calm. We encourage our parents to step back and regroup. That's the first thing. Consider your child. You know your stress level. So you have the first, what am I dealing with personally before I go after this child? Once you give that some thought and then think about your child, you know the temperament of your child. You know that your child is not usually unmannerly or disrespectful, and so you have to regroup. Give her a timeout. Give him or her a timeout so you can really consider what's happening. But after you do that, give your child the opportunity to apologize. Give them an opportunity to make amends. Some children are sensitive like that, and they'll come and say, you know, mommy, daddy, I was sorry. I know I was wrong for how I spoke to you. And then it opens the conversation. So the child can give you their concerns, their fears. They're little human beings, and they're not wise enough as to how to handle their situations. You know, sometimes they get overwhelmed. They don't have the language. They don't know. So we have to give them the opportunity to converse with us. But let me say this, if a child determines that, if you determine as a parent that the child needs discipline, let's not run to corporal punishment, the spanking, because as Bahamian, that's the only form of punishment we know. But after you punish a child, what else are you going to do? You're going to give them more licks, you're going to give them harder licks. So we encourage our parents, look at other ways of disciplining your children. Taking away privileges is perfect, especially in this time when we're in lockdown. If you take away their cell phone, that's more painful to them than spanking them.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. You know, we always brag about having to pick the switch when we were
Yes.
children. But no matter
Yes.
how much switch I pick, I don't think I remember the lessons that were trying to be taught, right?
Exactly.
So instead of thinking of, you know, punitive measures and discipline, what are some parenting tips that parents can use to encourage juveniles to make good decisions? Because at the end of the day, it's up to that child who, as you said, is a little person making a good
Yes.
decision.
Yes. So understand first of all, I think sometimes when we have our children, we want them to imitate us and we want them to act as an adult. But they're little children, they're little human beings, and they don't have the wisdom yet. So think about yourself when you were 15 and 16. How much mischief were you getting into?
Oh,
so
we can't talk about that now.
Listen, Daniel, the first thing is be approachable. Don't be the type of parent who's ready to condemn or spank. Be approachable, be open, have that open relationship with your child where you say, you know what, whatever is going on with you, be able, you know, I'm here for you, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to be that hand of judgment on you. So next one, make it a habit of talking to your child, conversation, not lecturing, not preaching. A child needs to know I'm going to come to you and you're going to just listen. And that's what they need. They need that love and support. Next thing, teach your child how to reason and think. Because that's the issue that we're seeing now in rehabilitative welfare services. A child is not thinking, what are the consequences of this decision? And that's when we have to have the conversation, get them in the habit of thinking for themselves. And the last point I want to make is, even though the mother and father may not be romantically involved together, work together for the benefit of that child. We have a lot of situations in our community where the parents are separated or they can't get along, and the children are torn between both parents, and they're not cooperating on parenting. So the child is pitching the other one against the other.
That sounds like some wonderful tips that everybody can incorporate into their interaction with not only children, just people in general, and conflict resolution. But that's a whole other show. So if somebody wanted to approach the detention centers or have their child placed in those services, what is the procedure, and usually how long do children stay with the unit?
Okay, wonderful question. Because we have incidents. We know that prior to the Child Protection Act of 2007, parents could have just presented their children to the police and to the station and said, okay, my child is uncontrollable. You guys put her in the girls' industrial school or put him in the boys' industrial school. The law has changed. And it's interesting because some parents even present themselves with the kids, the luggage at our door, say, y'all keep him. We say, what? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So the Child Protection Act, it's part 6, subsection 66. It speaks to us doing a proper investigation of that home. And so we go into that home, we go into the family environment. We listen to the child. The child has rights as well. Just because you're frustrated with the child does not mean that the child has to become a ward of the state. So we intervene in that situation. A lot of times we have programs where we put the parent in parenting classes, and we do individual and group counseling for the child. But it's our role to intervene. A lot of times children just get into bad company, into mischief. And so we organize proper activities, positive activities for the child to get involved in so that they can really use their potential and see themselves as a positive, contributing member of society. That's our goal there. So like I was saying, even in the placement, we can place a child in the center for 3 months, 6 months, or even up to a year. But our goal is to reunite that family. So we're actively working with the child with programs while they're at the center to prepare them for release.
I love that answer. And like you said, it's not just about the child, it's about the mother and father. They came together to make life, and so they should help to sustain that life. Willan Mills, I thank you for your wisdom. It seems like we need to have a full hour show with just you and I talking about this stuff. But we appreciate you coming on Bahamas at Sunrise this morning and bringing us your wisdom and knowledge.
No problem. Thank you for having me, though. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for coming on the show. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Welcome to Doctors Hospital. As the Bahamas reopens, we at Doctors Hospital have been hard at work preparing for the new normal. The health and safety of our patients, associates, and others entering the hospital space is ever paramount and shapes the experience as you enter our facilities. All persons entering the hospital will be COVID screened. which includes a temperature check and a few short questions. There's also mandatory hand and shoe washing stations upon entry. Masks are required and can be provided if necessary. To further limit contact, Doctors Hospital has launched a concierge service that allows for pre-registration, a hospital itinerary, in-car waiting, and a navigator to guide you through your visit. Our pharmacy is now offering curbside pickup and delivery services for prescriptions as well. Social distancing markers are placed around the facility and scheduling for imaging, including CAT scans, mammograms, and 3T MRIs. Laboratory including our new same-day COVID-19 PCR testing, rehabilitation, and other services has also been adjusted. Doctors Hospital is here to serve you with the same quality and care that you've come to expect, even as we enter a new normal. Now, more than ever, Doctors Hospital continues to be trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, Midway Point Friday edition, TGIF. I am Philip Simon.
And I'm Mark Daniels filling in for Star. Star, I hope you and Cruz, Cairo and Carlos are all comfy at home, right?
You know they are. Mark, man, listen, that was an energetic interview there you just had with Willan Mills. I'm like, oh my goodness, what time did she get up? She has more energy than you, which I didn't think was possible.
Hey, and she said she didn't even have her coffee, but that's just a sign of passion. And you know, it's people like that who are working all across our public sector, that's working in the social sector in our communities. And that's the type of energy we need to rehabilitate not only the youth, our whole community. And I love that energy she has. And we need to bring her back on, man. She's great.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. In fact, you're right. We need to give you both an hour to kind of hash this out and pick us all up, man. In fact, you guys could be called the Morning Brew yourself. Fresh brew.
Fresh brew, yeah, because we got some of that coming up. We're talking to our youth roundtable segment with Benjamin Moultrie Grant, and Chaz Garraway is back with us again on Fresh Brew.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Mark is going to have some flashbacks here on the show as an old footballer, right? I can say old now, right, Mark?
Yeah, you can say that. That's fine.
Mark is going to be talking with the Bahamas Football Association about their, they have a new, what's the term? What's the title? A new
director, and there's a competition coming up.
All right, good. All right, listen, but certainly Godfrey Burnside is going to give us our second look with weather at sunrise to let us know, does this storm even have a name yet? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway.
It shall not be named.
Yeah, well, here's Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First in Insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, Tropical Storm Watch is now in effect for the southeastern islands. That includes the islands of Inagua, Maguana, Crooked Island, Auckland, Ragged Island, Long Key, and Samana Key, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Tropical Storm Watch means that tropical storm conditions can be experienced in these islands within the next 48 hours. We also have a tropical storm alert now in effect for the central Bahamas. That includes the islands of Long Island, Cat Island, Exuma, Rum Key, San Salvador, South Eleuthera, and South Andros, meaning that tropical storm conditions can be felt in these islands within 60 hours. At 5 a.m. this morning, Tropical Depression number 13 was located near latitude 17.8 degrees north and longitude 58.5 degrees west, some 305 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands, 860 miles east-southeast of the Turks and Caicos Islands, 990 miles east-southeast of Inagua, and 1,295 miles southeast of New Providence. The depression is moving towards the west-northwest at 21 miles per hour. Winds are still 35 miles per hour. We do expect some strengthening of this system over the next 24 to 48 hours. Rainfall in the system is expected to be 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. And then our eyes on tropical depression number 14, and at 5 a.m. was located in latitude 15.4 degrees north, longitude 83.1 degrees west. It's approaching the Yucatan Peninsula, moving towards the west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Winds are 35 miles per hour. Gradual strength of the system also expected in the day. And the toss-up, Laura and Marco, which one is named first will be Laura, and the one second will be Marco. And then we're watching a tropical wave just off the African coast is moving towards the west-northwest and has a 50% chance of development over the next 5 days. Also, a tropical storm formation not expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, still have some trophy across the northwest Bahamas, could trigger off some showers and thunderstorms. But again, so weather-wise, we expect going downhill in the southeastern islands by Sunday. In the marine forecast today, wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest Bahamas. East to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the central Bahamas. Easterly at 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. On Saturday, those winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas. They expect those winds to start increasing over the central Bahamas by Saturday night, and easterly at 15 to 25 knots, sea 5 to 8 feet over the southeastern islands. Then on Sunday, those winds could be possibly tropical storm conditions over the southeastern Bahamas, but easterly at 20 to 30 knots, sea 6 to 9 feet over the central Bahamas as it moves towards the central Bahamas, and east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, sea 4 to 7 feet over the northwest Bahamas. Yet tide. You can expect a high tide at 12 minutes past 10 this morning. The next low tide is 4:25 this afternoon. High gain tonight at 10:34. Sunset 7:40 this evening. Rising tomorrow at 6:47. UV index 9. Your water temperature 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase, no moon. Your extended outlook. We're looking at a pretty good day tomorrow. We have cloudiness, but that increasing cloudiness and windy conditions over the southeastern islands as the system approaches late Saturday night into Sunday, and then the possible tropical storm conditions. And then on Sunday, we're looking at the same thing. We're in the central Bahamas with increasing cloudiness, windy conditions, and possible tropical storm conditions. And then by Monday, that system moves very near to the northwest Bahamas, so we're watching very carefully at this time. Temperature daytime will be in the lower 90s at nighttime, in the upper 70s. That picture up in your final look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Bob Sunrise will be back after a short commercial break.
Thank you very much, Brother Godfrey. Listen, we are serving up this next conversation steaming hot, right? We're going to be exploring the light and the dark, bringing the bitter and the sweet. This is what you call fresh brew, where Generation Z, or should I say Gen Z, and the millennials bring their keen minds to the table to discuss issues facing the nation. Today's guests are Benjamin Moultrie Grant, Christian artist, social architect, and creative director at Hamian Official, and Chaz Garraway, climate reality leader, senior civil engineering student, and lead green associate. Gentlemen, listen, good morning. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I love those titles, man.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Listen, we want to do a new thing, and obviously we need some different thinking, some new thoughts, and we thought it would be great to kind of do this fresh brew thing here in Bahamas at Sunrise, talking to you guys who really are the next generation. In fact, you are today's generation, to be honest. But so many things happening. Nobody thought that 2020 would be this type of year. We've been back and forth. The Bahamas has been almost seemingly on the brink of disaster. From Dorian over the last, certainly over the last 10 months, we've been in a situation, guys. So Monday passed. We had another recent lockdown announcement that came. Of course, you would have seen what happened as a result of that. The PM announced a lockdown, and then it was effective immediately, and then it was pulled back. What are your thoughts right now? Not just on COVID and the decisions that are being made, but our country in general. Benjamin, let's start with you.
Sure. So it's actually pretty interesting. I think if you were to speak to a lot of young people over the past few years, our perspectives has been that there's been a need for change. And interestingly, someone like Chaz and I could tell you from 2019 that there were pressing issues that we had to address at this specific point in time. The issues that we face in 2020, I don't feel are as wild as we think they are, because they're just really bringing to the surface things that have been pressing brewing issues for a long time. The way that we look at fiscal policy, the way that we look at social policy, environmental policy, education, all has been sort of exposed during this time because we've had practices that have not had innovation and new life into them. And I think it's very important that we always have a confident and a faithful mentality because countries change a lot over time. We are not 50 years old as an independent nation yet. There's countries who have existed over hundreds of years, thousands of years in terms of nations, and go through changes. So these difficulties we face right now, we have to understand that we are more than in control of dealing with, and we actually, based off of our track record, are more than capable of overcoming them once we keep in mind what we've done in the past and have the right mentality of changing that, being confident in the present. But what we also need is vision and mentality for the future, because this is the perfect opportunity, really and truly, to completely redevelop how the Bahamas faces its economic, social, and environment approach to policy.
Well, listen, Chaz, elaborate on that. Benjamin seems really optimistic right now, and maybe he's right. Certainly it's the perfect opportunity to kind of bring out that blank piece of paper and write all over it once again. Do you share the same sentiments?
I do. I honestly do. And I think this is the time now for us to be really thinking about, okay, so, we realize what the issues are. We've been, there's been a lot of complaining and rightly so, but I think right now it's the time for us to be thinking about, okay, so how do we go forward from this? What are the solutions we need to be looking at? How do we as youth provide our youthful, our youthful perspective, even though we don't have a lot of experience, we have a different way of looking at things. So I think it's how do we provide that perspective to the rest of the country to say, these are some of the things that are possible and some of the things that we should start talking about and looking at to move forward. So I think, we just need to be focused on what's next. And as Benjamin said, countries and things change in general. So we just have to continue to change and continue to iterate. And that comes with the youth bringing their voice and new opinions.
Well, certainly the platform has to be made available. And I used to say, even when I was your age, that, these older people just aren't listening. They aren't listening and they need to be moved out of the way. But maybe there's this collaboration that needs to occur. Benjamin, you talk about, innovation and creativity and the approach that's needed. As a young person, what would you suggest? If you were, I know this is a heavy question, right? But, if you were the competent authority, if you were in charge of the country right now, what would be some of the simple things that you would suggest to kind of help to navigate us out of the circumstances that we find ourselves in?
First off, I don't really think it's too tall of a task. I think people know what the issues are and we know what we have. So the question is, how do we utilize what we have in the most effective way to provide the most optimal solution? Also, I think everybody is a competent authority. We have to look at this, that there's not one singular person who is leading us and directing us and making change. Every single person has the potential to create infrastructure for themselves, influence for themselves, and make change for themselves. We need to accept responsibility as individuals. And that's really where it starts, because that's the root of economic production and having a responsible society. In terms of my solutions that I would provide, and like I said before, I think this is the perfect time for this. I think if we focus more on how we implement these right now, the focus completely changes. First and foremost, we have to start respecting culture. First and foremost, that is an imperative. We have ignored Bahamian culture and the young culture for too long. And we've seen that orange economy development around different nations has the potential to bring in billions of dollars. So that rapper on the side of the street selling his CDs that we've ignored for so long actually has economic potential The people who are activists, who like to talk and advocate for things, have economic potential. So first and foremost, culture. Orange economy development is the most important thing right now. Per capita, we have to invest in art, music, fashion, and things that promote soft power around the world, because you can sell an art piece for any price that you want to. And if people are already in careers that have minimum wage provisions, if you can make more than minimum wage as an artist or a creative, there's more opportunity. So orange economy development through culture. Secondly, the implementation of more digitization and technology. Do we have to be going to school? Can we go on Skillshare and digital services to learn, right? Can we pick up a craft? Can we use technology to implement new practices? All of that is possible. Can we digitize the public service? All of that is possible with young ideas. And then thirdly, I would say our change in how we look at economic development should be grassroots. Don't look at a top-down policy. Don't look at a big investment of $1 billion, $1 million. Focus on specific communities with deliverables. How do we empower people in those areas? And how do we give them a chance to have some responsibility, fail, but also succeed? And then lastly, I would say food security and sustainability, which is more on Chaz's end. We have to feed ourselves. We're importing way too much, and we have land as well as the capabilities to provide natural remedies and subsistence for the people. So we have to use this time and this approach to say, all right, we're at home. How can we learn to work from home? How can we learn to work from Cat Island, Abaco, Exuma, Inagua, and have the same effectiveness rather than just everybody working in NASA? And the way that we do that is through culture, through digitization, through orange economy development at a grassroots level, and the green economy.
Well, listen, excellent suggestions straight across the board, Benjamin. Chaz, he mentioned this thing called food security. In the Bahamas, we just think we can't produce nothing. We just, but to elaborate a little bit on what he's suggesting, it seems as though you believe that everything we need, we already have. So what's preventing us from getting there, Chaz?
I'll touch on that too, but just to add a little bit as well to what Benjamin was saying, I think by part of what we need to do is to embrace technology and embrace the fact that you can learn new skills from home. And also there's many websites and there's many opportunities online for people who have skills already or who want to learn new skills, who can find jobs that are online. So even though you're at home and you're unable to work or you were laid off, there's still opportunities to find. And just like you mentioned earlier, sometimes you just need the space or the opportunity. And I think just by, sometimes people don't know what's out there. And just by knowing that, there are websites like Ben mentioned, Skillshare, and also things like freelancer.com that allow people to do this remote work. So there's options out there. And I think maybe part of that as well is looking at how maybe for people who can't afford $10 a month to do a subscription to learn something new, maybe that's where the government comes in to help those people, to allow them to learn new skills so that they can get a job, even though their last job was taken away. But in regards to food security, as Benjamin mentioned, I think it's more so looking at looking at it from three different timelines, like short, intermediate, and long term. And in regards to short term, people are hungry, and I think supporting the groups, there's a lot of local groups that are trying to feed people, and so supporting those groups and helping them any way you can to help people who need food, and looking at it from a more interim time scale. I think home gardening and community gardening really is a good way to start people to start growing their own food. And I'll tell you, any gardener or anyone who's grown their own vegetables will tell you how happy they are after they have been able to grow and learn how to make a tomato or a cabbage and then in their own yard, and they can eat it themselves. And then also looking at it at a long-term point of view of, so how do we grow more trees that provide food security? And one of the projects that I'm working on is planting 100,000 trees throughout the Bahamas. And so a major part of that is how do we plant fruit trees to provide a consistent food source over the years to Bahamians, and how does that look? And so I think, and like Benjamin said, there's land there, and I'm not saying that it's an easy task to plant 100,000 trees, because it hasn't been done yet, or to invest in agriculture and these types of things. But I think, we're here to get the conversation going and figure out, okay, how do we actually put this in motion? And so I think, those are some of the key points for me.
Excellent, guys. Excellent, guys. Benjamin, I'm going to give you the last word really quickly, man. You said that everybody can be or should be a competent authority. What do you say, particularly to our young people right now in this very moment?
I'd say just take life seriously. One day you will be dead. And what do you want to be known for while you're here? You've been put in the Bahamas for a reason. You've been put in the situations that you are for a reason. You have a responsibility to make the most out of your life. It's that simple. No one else can make it happen for you other than yourself. Everything that Chaz has done to this point ultimately has to come down to, yes, the support system, yes, God, but also him putting in that work and effort. Same thing for me. Everybody has dreams. We all know what we want to do with our lives. It's just about having the initiative to take it up and do it. Whether it's the 100,000 tree planting initiative, that's a step of faith. Whether it's Hamian official and having a huge goal of transforming the Bahamas into a creative archipelago, that takes faith. Nothing is in front of us. We have to work for something that we can't see yet. And right now in this uncertain time, my push is for everybody to just have vision and take a risk. You got to risk it to get the biscuit. If we want to save the Bahamas, we're going to have to make bold solutions. And this is the perfect time, because what do we have to lose,
Absolutely. Say something. Listen, Benjamin Moultrie Grand, Christian artist, social architect, and creative director at Hamian Official. We can talk about that more next time. Chaz Garraway, climate reality leader, senior civil engineering student, and lead green associate. Gentlemen, listen, it's been refreshing. Fresh brew. Thank you so much for joining us here in Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, you're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Business in the Box is your solution for business from Cable Bahamas. It's an internet, voice, mobile, and advertising solution all in one place. Get reliable internet, free domestic call, and a live corporate package, and free TV ad placement, all starting with packages as low as $164 a month. You can save over $3,000 a year. Just call 601-8911. That's 601-8911. And ask for Business in a Box from Cable Bahamas Business Solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Once they get back into action, they have named a new technical director and are getting ready for some awesome competition. Here to tell us more is Frederick Lund, Secretary General of the BFA, and Mark Burcham, Technical Director of the BFA. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Good morning. This is like a reunion. I've spent lots of time over my life wearing the colors of the Bahamas and kicking ball in the name of all that's good in the 242. And I'm so happy to see you here, Uncle Fred, as I affectionately call him, over the years of being my coach and a mentor on the field. And just to welcome Mark Burcham as well, the new technical director. So, Fred, tell us a little bit about the current team and what you guys got coming up.
Well, Mark, thanks. And, you know, it's a pleasure seeing you and doing great things. And I remember you representing us so well over many years, you know, for the Bahamas, and even as a little fella coaching you and watching you around, and you're growing into a fine young man. And we're waiting for you to come back and get involved. We need your service.
I'll be back.
Yeah, Mark. Well, you know, we qualified after winning our group out of the Nations League to go into the Gold Cup, and which is a wonderful accomplishment for the Bahamas and for our national program. We would just finish the round of 30 to be played soon in October, November, if everything goes well between now and then. So the team selection is still a process that's going on right now. We're trying to get back to training. The Ministry of Health and Sports has just given us some guidelines for the national team to go back out and get working again. So we're hoping to implement that you know, maybe early next week once we meet with the players and the coaches and say, you know, here are the guidelines that we must adhere to in order to get teams semi-prepared, you know, for this competition. We're a little behind the other countries we'll be playing against because they're already in training. They don't have the strict restrictions as we have. Obviously, COVID numbers are shooting up, so we have to proceed with caution. And that's the best we can do at this stage right now.
Yes, I can understand. I can imagine how difficult it is keeping the team fit, because if you miss one day of training, you'll feel that. So imagine a week or a month or more. So Mark, as a new technical director, tell us about what you'll be bringing to the BFA in terms of your experience and your life in the game of football.
Well, I want to apologise for being unprofessional with the earpieces, but anyone who's got children, no, I've got wireless ones and they've gone missing. This on TikTok or something they're doing.
No problem.
I've got this. But what I'm bringing, I want to bring just the standard of coaching up on the islands, the standard of football up on the islands, and with that, hopefully increased amount of participants that will play the game of football, because anyone that has played football, especially in these times, there's parents probably can't wait to get their children out of the house and start playing football because they're climbing the walls. But for us, for the standard with my pro license and my coach education, that's all I'm looking to do is come to the island and just raise the bar in level of performances of players and coaches.
So how do you envision training to be executed during COVID-19? I know there's some restrictions, but what's your vision for how you're going to train this squad to be ready for competition?
Well, the BFA are working on a new website as well as myself working on an app where we can get out skill of the weeks and coaching sessions of the week. We're going into the unknown with what's happened, but what we got to do, as you said, first of all, to do any sort of football, you need a base of fitness. And some people out there might not have, it's either one or the other. Some people have done no fitness at all. And like a lot of my friends, some people have turned into fitness freaks in lockdown where they're doing home gyms at home. So we've got to get a base level of fitness of players. And then it will be, which is one positive thing that's come out of lockdown, is people are used to using technology in ways they probably haven't. Even my mum and dad are FaceTiming and they're used to Zoom calls. So to get that, especially with the website and that, we should be able to include the outer islands even more than what we've done before, where we can connect through the social networking and all the technology and bring that into our games.
So Fred, tell us what's the direction that the BFA wants to head in, and why is Mark the man for the job?
Well, I'll just kind of add to what Mark is saying, because he's just recently joined us about the fitness programs. You know, we've had a few of the players have stepped up, you know, doing Vanderby, some of your former teammates, and Happy and Jaime. Lately, these guys are fitness trainers. Gavin, Christy, you know, the guys have been doing a lot of online physical training programs a few times a week, keeping the national teams, both men and women, you know, engaged. So that's been a plus. And with Mark coming on board now, I'm sure they'll beat that up a little bit. We're going to hope to put the squad into a camp prior to, you know, playing. So whether matches are played, you know, here in the Bahamas, or they decide to put us in a location to where all the teams can come in and play, we're going to want to be able to get the players into that location at least 10 days prior to, so they can have an opportunity to do a little training together, and have an opportunity to advance in this second round. But our vision for the future, with Mark on board and bringing his experience as a person who's developed youth programs, at Crane Park Rangers in the U.S. with Chicago Fire, his professional background playing with QP as well, at the highest level in the Premiership. We're hoping to rebuild our programs from the ground up. Our youth programs, our school programs, particularly our women's program, to get that back on track. We have a lot of young women in the country that are playing right now, but we need to try to weave all that together. And, we felt that he was the person that we can bring in to do this for us, given his background in youth development in particular. And it'll be a little different from the days when we coached you, Mark, which was training by fire.
I know, right?
Or baptism by fire too.
I know, and what I think I've learned through my years playing with the BFA and playing football in the country is that there's more. When you see that team step on the field, there's so much that goes into that team to be ready for game day. And like you spoke about it, the development of the youth so that you have a feeder program, but also the mentality and the spirit of the team. Team unity and cohesiveness is important. There was one thing that I'd say that the game taught me is how to work as a team, how to work as a unit towards a common goal. So the competition that's coming up, tell us what you're training for and who you're potentially going to be playing.
Well, the president wrote to me, and he after we saw the group that came out, he said, "Fred, this is kind of group of death, Yeah, 30 teams, but wouldn't be the first time we've faced tough competition. We have Trinidad, Puerto Rico, Guyana, and St. Kitts and Nevis in our group. Yeah. So it's a big task for us. It's going to be tough, given that we're going to have about a month to prepare for this. And the game's going to be close. Our first match is scheduled right now, I think, Mark, for October 10th, and then we turn around. Second match is on the 13th. So, you have two big games against two big countries. We have St. Kitts and Nevis, and then that's followed by Puerto Rico. And, right. and then we face Trinidad at some point, which has always been a powerhouse in the region, football. Right. But, it's all about the mental preparation right now, and physically, we'll do what we can. We have a great group of young men, who are going to put their heart into it. We have, Marky, who's going to lead that effort for us. We're going to put the resources behind it that we need to give this team a chance to prove that they're worthy to be in that group and to win that group. So it'll be tough, but it's all about getting them together mentally. Right now, we've been off for a few months, and between Mark and the team that's there, Nestle Jean, who's done a great job, who's coached the team to unprecedented wins for the BFA.
Brother Ness.
Yeah. Young Avery, who stepped up to help with the goalkeeper training, yes. And he's a young guy and doing a very good job for us, and we appreciate his efforts. These guys, Larry Menz, who managed the team. Yep. Most people know him as Captain of the Bahamas. He'll still be there managing the squad for us. Gina, who's our physio, Jenna Payton, she's done a great job in trying to keep the boys healthy. She's kept you going for many years and patching you up and sticking you back together again for each match. Yep. So, our hope is to see us this develop from the ground up, to continue to have that feeder system into the programs through our clubs that are doing a wonderful job as well. And I should say hello to all our club presidents who may be listening. They're doing a great job keeping their kids engaged via Zoom. We get some video clips from time to time to see what the kids are doing on their personal skills. And hopefully, like Mark is saying, we can get them back outdoors again and just playing the wonderful game of football.
Yes, I agree with that totally. Like you said, there's a team of people that works behind the scenes. And so just as a wrap, to that young footballer that's out there, to that person who wants to be a coach, what's the message you have to them in terms of how can they contribute to football in the country and take their game to the next level?
Well, Mark, I'll tell you this, and it's been so pleasing for us to see that the young men from your generation that benefited from all the hard work and the work that our generation put in are now coming back to give back to the sport. We have a new group of young leaders in football And we're so pleased about that. So I think, and you know, and you're one of them. You came back and you assisted with the kids and coaching and whatnot. So I think, you know, young people who's a generation behind you, you have obligation, so does the other guys, to reach out to them and reach back to them and say, here's what we can do with football, and we can do all these things to you. And you said earlier about being a team player is one of the greatest things this sport brings to you, but being able to achieve and having opportunities that you may never have given to you to the sport. And so that's what we want the message to go out to the young kids, to come out, be a part of what we're doing. And one day they'll be on television as a host. I'm not going to call it.
Well, Fred and Mark, I'd like to thank you both for coming on Bahamas at Sunrise this morning and giving us your time. The future looks bright for football in the Bahamas, and we can't wait to see our guys touch the field in October.
Yes, wonderful. We'll keep you posted on the developments and the training as it goes on. And look forward to seeing you soon, Mark.
Yes, I'm going to come and get some of those laps, eh? You guys are watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you so much for joining us on this TGI Friday. Mark, I saw you got a little excited there.
Oh, I did. I sweating, man. I'm ready to go kick one ball. Now, where's my ball?
Great interview. But listen, we just got to remind you guys still, you know, even though most things seem to be open now, we're still in the middle of a lockdown and still in the middle of a pandemic. So be safe.
Yep. And you guys be safe this weekend when the weather comes through. Make sure you're secured. Put out your buckets and catch your rainwater, because the plants will thank you for it.
Yes, that's right. See you guys on Monday. Bye.
Take care.